I'm the Nevada Stray Cat, and I've come to the Tree of Utah. I left Wendover, headed east on Interstate 80 from Utah Exit 2. It amuses me that neither Exit 2 nor Exit 1 let you get on the freeway going west, as if the Utah Highway Department really didn't want people headed into the sin pit that is Nevada. We pass the port of entry, where freight-laden trucks going both ways are inspected, past Exit 4, where we turn for the salt flats, and on east. When I set out this morning, my fuel gauge was 1 bar below full, and as I mentioned in my daily Rider episode, that means that it was actually somewhere around 4/5 full. I didn't fill the tank before I left town, because I figured I was only going 25 miles east and would turn around there and come 25 miles home. Foreshadowing, this was a mistake. Brief digression. I'm always happy when the highway patrol passes me without requiring me to pull over. And when the fire department pararescue truck goes by, I'm always glad it's not me who's having that particular bad day. That's my destination, and it was about here that I realized I'd miscalculated the fuel situation. You see, although the tree is only about 25 miles east of Wendover, there's no legal way to cross from the eastbound lane to the westbound lane except a Flyover U-Turn. And the next exit is another 15 miles down the road, adding a total of 30 miles to the trip. Instead of a 50-mile trip, it had just become an 80-mile trip. In a previous episode, I erroneously stated that the rails to the south of the freeway were owned by Burlington Northern Santa Fe. I have since learned that they are actually owned by the Union Pacific Railroad, even though almost all of the hardware I see rolling on them belongs to BNSF. I believe this is the same route that was first built in 1910, which represented the first permanent route across the salt flats. It has subsequently been modernized, of course, and today, diesel locomotives pull long trains of freight across the desert on those rails. It always makes me sad that we, as a society, as a nation, let passenger rail largely die outside of the Atlantic coastal region. The rails built this nation. It's a shame we couldn't see our way to keeping them viable. When I lived in Europe, a couple of times I took an auto train. You pulled your car onto a railroad freight car and rode inside for hundreds of miles to a destination where you drove your car off again. I'd love to be able to pull my Ryker, or even my pickup, on in Wendover or Salt Lake and get off in Chicago. This section of Interstate 80, the freeway I'm riding on, was built in the 1960s, and even more freight moves along it, courtesy of the Teamsters riding 18 wheels. A quick flyover U-turn at exit 41, labeled Knowles, though there really isn't anything there to slap that label on, and I was headed back toward the tree. The tree was built by Swedish artist Carl Moman and dedicated in 1986. I've heard it said that he was driving across the desert in the early 80s and had a vision. I've also heard it said that he just felt the distance from Salt Lake to the Humboldt River Valley was too far to drive without seeing a tree. Whichever is the truth, he built his 27-meter tree, donated it to the state of Utah, and buggered off home to Scandinavia. And here it sits. Unlike the Georgia Guidestones, it has nothing controversial inscribed on it, so this unsolicited gift isn't regularly targeted by extremists. got back on I-80 westbound, and to resolve the dramatic tension I've built, no, I did not run out of fuel. I did run the gauge all the way to E, and was uncertain if I'd make it back to Wendover, so I stopped and refueled at Utah Exit 4, something I prefer to avoid, as the station out here routinely charges $1 more per gallon than the stations in town. Thanks for coming along on this ride, and for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed the trip, please do all the regular YouTube things. Like, subscribe, comment, and recommend it to others you think might share our enjoyment of the road. I'm the Nevada Stray Cat, and I'll see you around.